Hey guys, Disloader Magic here with some kind of overdue Jumpstart Historic Horizon spoilers. There's only 30-ish brand new cards out of, I think, like 781 or something in that neighborhood, so percentage-wise not very high. And I think this is the last of them, although I might be duplicating one or dropping one or two because, well, the site I was using to list these changed the order of them. Thanks for that. So anyway, let's start with one I know I haven't seen. It's Tater Tots, aka Teo Aegis Adept, which I could have sworn that's not how you spelled his name, but whatever. Not like I ever used his real name. So it's 4 cost, 4 loyalty, legendary planeswalker Teo, of course, and then he has +1 up to 1 target creature's base power perpetually becomes equal to its toughness. It perpetually gains. This creature can attack as though it didn't have defender. Oh boy, you do that even once, it's pretty broken on the right creature. But it's one of those trap cards where it looks really good until you actually figure out the deck it would have to go in. If you've got a whole bunch of like 06 walls and you're just waiting for Teo to come out, and then somebody blows him up immediately, lightning strikes him or whatever, counter spells him, well then you've got a whole bunch of walls that do nothing. But you know that planeswalkers tend to have self-contained cohesive mechanics, so of course his -2 is conjure a Lumbering Lightshield card onto the battlefield. Now this conjure thing likes to use cards that are in and outside of the set, but it appears that the Lumbering Lightshield is a brand new card that is an actual card in Jumpstart, so you could build a deck with this, I guess. We don't actually have confirmation on that. I mean, even if he was in your Jumpstart pack, does he just go straight to the sideboard? Can you put him there on purpose? Do you even need him in the sideboard to use Conjure? My guess would be no. I can see why people aren't loving this new Conjure mechanic, but anyway, it's a 2 cost 1/4 illusion, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals a non-land card at random from their hand, and it perpetually gains this spell costs 1 more to cast. That's actually pretty trolly, and I love it. I mean, you want to talk about a shield effect, we've never seen anything quite exactly like this. And then, a 1/4, you use the +1 ability and becomes a 4/4, so that's not bad. So his -6 is you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, return target white creature card from your graveyard directly to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness, which is pretty insane. I mean, you could just get something killed almost on purpose every single hand. Hell, you could just sacrifice it, or just swing away, let it hit, let it get killed, who cares? And then, at the beginning of your end step, here it is again. That would be devastating in certain decks, so it's not hard to get to 6 if you're starting at 4 and then you immediately +1 him, but I would think the average person would -2 him. But remember, if you're playing Jumpstart as Jumpstart, you probably are going to find this guy in a highly defensive white deck. But then again, he's a mythic. He probably doesn't have a 100% chance of showing up in the pack, and if he doesn't, do you just have a bunch of like 0/5s? I don't think so. And what are the odds that 2 of these will be in the pack? My guess is 0. So the whole, dream deck cohesive super block that's going to just destroy everybody, I don't know about that. And what if he gets mixed with a non-white deck? Hey, finally, a free casting automatic Resurrector for 0 that actually put a restriction on it. It's actually restricted to white. Holy crap. They almost cared about balancing for once. So moving on, we've got another card that actually hasn't been translated yet because it's not in normal databases. Thanks for that, Wizards. But the community's got our back. They're never wrong about the translations ever. Like 70% of the time. So it's Freyalise Sky Shroud Partisan. Oh, they're bringing back all of the Planeswalkers. It's a 3 cost 4 loyalty, which is huge. Legendary Planeswalker Freyalise, of course. And +1, choose up to 1 target elf. Oh, Elf Ball. Fun, fun, fun. That's already broken in Historic, and this costs 3. I can't wait to see what this does to devastate the already very, very poor state meta in Historic. I mean, it's pretty much just elves, goblins, and abusive crap. But anyway, choose up to 1 target elf, untap it, that elf, and a random elf creature in your hand perpetually gets +1/+1. So you can't target it, but its cost doesn't go up. That's kind of weird. And then -1, seek an elf card, so you go get it from your library at random, and then put it in your hand. Also pretty broken and an already overpowered tribal here. And then -6, conjure a Regal Force card onto the battlefield. Remember what I said about consistency? Regal Force was printed in Eternal Masters. I don't think it's actually in Jumpstart. And it's a 7 cost 5/5 elemental, so I could see like why they wouldn't necessarily put that in. That'll be kind of hard to cast in like the actual Jumpstart format. In Historic, maybe not, but like now is this card legal in Historic because she referenced it? I don't know. Are they gonna go out of the way to add it to Arena? What set is it even really from? I don't even care to look it up because I'm not touching this stupid product. Got a lot of questions about it though. So it's 5/5, and when it enters battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. That is ridiculous. Okay, now I'm looking it up just solely so I can put it in an OBA video. Holy crap. Oh, dual deck Elves versus Inventors. That's what it was from. And then also Eventide. And then obviously EMA. Well, not even messing around. Okay, so before like all this crap printed in the last 2 years, it was really hard to draw a bunch of cards in green. One of my favorite on the download power cards just from Core Set 2015, and that is it. So M15. It is like a fairly expensive $3 card, so I mean, it's on some people's radar, but you sack a creature and then draw cards equal to its power. I mean, that's crazy. There's a reason it's a rare from a core set that's $3. But Regal Force is about 4, so I mean, you know, both of them should be on your radar, which is why I'm probably going to do an OBA on it. Although now that I've covered it this heavily, maybe not. So you create one of them one time, that's it. And then honestly, she starts at 4, you're probably going to +1 her to 5, you're going to have to put her to 7 to keep her alive, which you're absolutely going to want to do. And her -1 already puts another elf in your hand. So it's like, how many cards do you really need? And Regal Force is only a 5/5. And also it's not an elf. So I don't know if people would necessarily try to do that. I mean, if they think there's maybe a board wipe coming or somehow they're casting elf after elf after elf and still losing, and they want to draw a whole bunch of cards, or there's like a bunch of elves but they just cast a big flyer and you can't really do anything about it, you might want to go get like a plummet effect. And drawing, 8 cards or something would be a great way to do that. But like I said, I don't think a lot of people will end up going for that -6. So next up, we've got another card that, out of context is wonderful. In the context of Elf Ball in Historic, is just absolute cancer. Sky Shroud Lookout. When it enters the battlefield, seek an elf card. So out of your control totally randomly, you go grab an elf out of your library, and now it's in your hand. Green Tribal Draw. Wow, for 2. Oh, also it has reach. Remember what I said about elves having the weakness of losing to flyers? Well, not anymore. That bitch got her bow pointed in the air. Although, like, what the hell is a 1/1 gonna do? I mean, this almost isn't even a good card, but, 1/1 elves are not 1/1 elves in Historic. They're like 5/5s. I mean, there's so much boost, it's truly and honestly sickening. Next up, we have one in Espanol, so I don't need no translator. I'm the translator. So it's Cabecillo Temerario. I don't know what either of those are. Okay, I'm going to cheat. Reckless Ringleader. Yeah, I don't know either of those words. Why would I? It's a Brebon Trasgo. Apparently that's Goblin Warrior, but I can almost guarantee you, since I know the word for both of those, that's not what it says, so okay. Then it has Prisa. I actually don't know what that is either, so I'm using my cheat sheet. Looks like it's Haste. Okay, we're going to do the rest on the fly. Let's see. When this card enters the camp of battle... Even though everybody knows you don't camp where you battle on the battlefield and then camp at the campsite. Get your shit together, Spanish, or Wizards of the Coast. Probably Wizards of the Coast. Anyway, select a card of creature in your hand. It gains the ability of haste of Form Perpetual. I don't think that word is really form, but anyway, I think we get what this card does. Oh boy, they took goblins and made them worse. So let's see, there's elves, goblins, what else? What's I thought there was a third tribal. I know slivers are coming, but they don't have the support of the other, 180 slivers, like, ever printed in the game, so good luck with that. It's only a broken tribal if you got access to all of them, I'm just saying. So next up, we got Leon and Sanctifier. Okay, we already showed this, it was already in the spoiler video, but a lot of people pointed out something interesting. We don't for sure know how exactly this works, because it looks straightforward, but comparing this to paper, people brought up a little question. So it's a 2/1 with lifelink for 2. When Leon and Sanctifier enters the battlefield, choose a creature card in your hand and perpetually gains lifelink. It does not say reveal it. Now, in paper, you'd have to reveal it to prove that it's a creature card, to prove that you had a valid target. Because 3 turns later, you could have a creature card in hand, and when you cast this, you didn't, and you could just say, oh no, it was this one, I had this the whole time. But you never revealed it and proved it. But you also didn't get out a Sharpie and, write lifelink on the creature either, so how do they know? What if you had a valid creature, you targeted it, and then you got a bigger creature later, now you're like, oh no, it was this one. Well, because it's digital. You can't cheat at digital, so would you, via the trigger on the stack or the targeting arrow, reveal the card either incidentally or because that's what you would normally do just to give the opponent the information, or would you not? Would they just say, oh, look, he did this? So sometime in the future, some creature might have lifelink. But then what are they going to do on the stack? Like show it face down or show like a placeholder with a question mark? Or would they just show the damn card? Because I'd almost hope that they don't, because if I don't have to reveal it, but like I said, in paper, you would have to reveal it. So are they going to emulate paper? So that will actually be really interesting how they handle that. When somebody brought that up, I thought about it for a good long while. So next up, we've got Sarkhan. Sarkhan who? Sarkhan D's nuts. You know, if they weren't a bunch of clueless dumb boomers who aren't ever on the internet except Twitter to bitch at people, they probably wouldn't have named him that. So this is another 4 drop for 4, which is always pretty good. We got +1, dragon cards in your hand perpetually gain. This spell costs 1 less to cast because, of course, it's Sarkhan. And it also gains you may pay X mana total, generic, rather than pay the spell's mana cost, where X is its mana value. So, in other words, you can use mana of any color to cast this dragon spell. I mean, why would they not just say that? Finally, something actually helpful to smashing 2 completely unrelated colors together, which is usually what happens in Jumpstart. Although if you're not familiar for Jumpstart, they give you 3, and then you pick 1, and then they give you 3, and then you pick 1, and then you put those together. So you can match the colors sometimes. But the power levels of these, and the synergies of certain ones, whether they match or not, is kind of the bigger factor. Also, the monocolored ones get, like, you know, monocolored lands, and then the dual color packs, or higher, I guess, I don't know if there is one higher, they give you 100% dual color lands. So that's kind of nice, at least. It'll stop the whole, oh, look, it's turn 6 and I still can't cast anything. Feels bad, man. So his 0 ability is conjure a Shivan Dragon card in your hand. I'm not going to show it on screen. If you don't know what a Shivan Dragon is at this point, what the hell is wrong with you? And then we have -2. Sarkhan D's nuts deals 3 damage to target creature. Overall, pretty absurdly powerful card here. I will say, though, it doesn't conjure a Shivan Dragon into the battlefield. It's in your hand. So, I mean, you can't just sit there and 0 dragon, 0 dragon. That would be a little bit much. So next up, we got an interesting card, Sarkhan Scorn. It's 3-cost red instant, and it says, I'm just going to read it as they wrote it, Sarkhan Scorn deals damage equal to the number of turns you have begun to target creature or planeswalker. What the hell does that mean? The number of turns you have begun to target. Since you've targeted it, number of times you've targeted it, the number of turns it's been since you last targeted it. I can think of about 10 more scenarios, but I think we're going to settle on what the hell does this card do? Is it a perpetual effect? Does it go off? Is it a delayed trigger? Is it an infinite delayed trigger? Are there even multiple of this? Do you need multiple of it? Is there a different way to cast this? Is it summoned? Or, I mean, conjured? Is this even a real card? I've never just read a modern era card with the modern Oracle text and still been like, what does that mean? What does it do? So whatever clever little thing they think they're doing that's digital only with turn tracking, I don't understand what the hell this card does. And from what I've seen on the internet, neither does anybody else. I mean, target the same permanent with a different card? Is it per turn? If you don't target it 1 turn, does that count as a turn? I mean, what the hell does this card do, Wizards? Next up, Scion of Shiv. Oh boy, it's a 4-cost double red. Oh, that'll help your dual color. 3/3 flying dragon, and if you pay 3, it perpetually gets fire breathing. +1/+0. Okay, well, I hate pay 1 fire breathing because that's just broken and overpowered shit. But perpetually, really? But the problem is it's starting at like a 1 deficit, so like, okay, you're going to be dumping mana into this. It's practically a level up effect, so I don't absolutely hate this, but I absolutely dislike it. Next up, Faceless Agent, because faceless cards super aren't terrible for the game. So it's a shapeshifter, so in other words, it's a goblin, and a dragon, and an elf, and a merfolk. Oh yeah, that was the other toxic tribal in Historic. So, 3-cost, 2/1, generic, put it in every single deck color. That's pretty broken. I kind of wonder what module this is in then, like what packet, as they put it. If it's just all going to be like tribal assistant shapeshifters and that's the packet, and then you mix it with goblins or elves, holy shit, you just won. But anyway, it's a changeling, and then whenever Faceless Agent enters the battlefield, seek a creature card of the most prevalent creature type in your library. So whatever you have the most of, they don't say what to do in case of a tie, but I guess either pick one or it's random. Actually, I would kind of want to know which of the two that is, actually. Well, Seek is random anyway, but it's just, would you get to pick the creature type? They don't specify because these cards were hastily put together and are confusing as shit. I don't like the whole, well, don't worry about how the card really works. The game, the digital aspect will handle it for you. No, I want to know how my damn card works. I want to know what it does before I cast it, not find out what it does after I cast it, thanks. Not like I know what's in my library, it's frickin' Jumpstart. I even build the damn deck. Okay, so I hate this. Next up, Wingsteed Trainer. Oh boy, so it's 4 cost 2/3 human, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks, conjure a Stormfront Pegasus card into your hand. So that's at least an M12 card. It's a 2 cost 2/1 with flying, and that's it. It's not the one that when you attack it grants flying to another creature. It's just a 2/1 flyer. So it's the old 2-for-1 special, but it costs 4, so special might not be the real term for this, more like mundane, but okay. Next up, we've got Baffling Defenses. It's a 2 cost white instant, and target creature's base power perpetually becomes 0. See, this I like because it's not based on an aura. Now, even if it was an aura, then I'd almost prefer that because then they have to like waste some kind of removal card blowing it up, but if they do, then the creature's back. So if I want to disable it for 2 mana, I want to disable it for 2 mana. Now, typically in white, you just spend 1 more and it's exiled, but it'll come back if they blow up your enchantment. So it's kind of like the same thing. So this, it does work differently than an enchantment-based card, which is kind of a new thing for white. So I still do kind of like this, but just like everything in the set, it's not quite as good as it seems. Now, one more thing to remind everybody is that card has been permanently altered until the end of the game. So if the creature that you targeted gets killed and then gets resurrected from the graveyard, it now still has 0, which, by the way, is not how the game works. The game's rules consider it a new permanent, but this card doesn't because it's perpetually. So all of this perpetual crap breaks the fundamental rules of the game, but it's one rule that almost nobody knows about unless they're a judge, which is why I take issue with it. Next up, we got Davriel's Withering, Dav on the haters. It's a 1 cost black instant, and target creature perpetually gets -1, -2. Alright, well, you know, same thing. Interesting, novel new way to do the spell, but at the end of the day, makes almost no difference whatsoever. Next up, we got Davriel Soulbroker. I thought maybe I already covered this because I remember saying he looks like Gomez Adams. But anyway, it's a 4 cost 4 loyalty, and he has +1 until your next turn. Whenever an opponent attacks you and or planeswalkers you control, they discard a card. Ouch. If they can't, they sacrifice an attacking creature. Okay, that's pretty powerful, but this is phrased 1 word differently than Isperia. That's whenever a creature attacks you. This is whenever an opponent attacks you. So with Isperia, if they attacked you with 5 creatures, you draw 5 cards. There are 5 triggers. There you go. With this one, the opponent is attacking you, and they can't do that more than 1 time per turn, except they can because magic. But normally they can't, so they could swing with 10, and then, okay, 1 card, 1 trigger, 1 creature. Still, that is insane. I mean, a defensive ability that powerful for 1, but I mean, if they've got 2 creatures or 1 card they don't need in hand, he's still going to get absolutely smashed. And he only has 4 loyalty, so it's powerful, but somewhat fair. And then he's got -2, accept 1 of Davriel's offers, then accept 1 of Davriel's conditions. What the f does that mean? Oh, so let's just go to the Gatherer and see what it says. No, let's go to Scryfall. No. Oh, you just go to, obviously, IGN.com. You know, like you do. So because it's digital, these are the offers and conditions. So you got the pros and the cons. You have to accept 1 of each. And before I jump way into this, I mean, look at the one that says, you get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+0. Ah, yeah, sign me up for that one. And then for the downsides, you've got, like, the first one is you lose 6 life, and then another one says, like, you get an emblem with all of your spells cost 2 more to cast. Or, I don't know, is that lowercase o and then b? Is that 0 generic and then 1 black or 1 generic? Honestly, I never learned what all these spelled out in text things are because it doesn't come up that much. I can tell you right now, you get that one, you're going to lose the game. I mean, we've got just horrible ones. You gain an emblem with at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each creature you control. Gee, I wonder if instead I'd choose you lose 6 life. So it's so unbelievably unbalanced. You could just choose like the best offer every time and the lightest impact condition every time. And then I thought, no, that's insane, it can't possibly work this way, and skimmed the rest of the IGN article, because they're the ones who got the spoiler for this. As you may have already suspected, it's not the most unbelievably broken, poorly conceived, poorly designed card in the history of the game. It's actually just random, obviously. So you might get screwed over by the negative to the point where you can't even play the game. I mean, 2 more mana, assuming that's what that means? All things being equal, in a normal match that doesn't, seek out additional lands or draw cards or scry or any of that stuff, or ramp or, generate mana without lands, 1/3 of your deck is mana. So if all of your spells cost 2 mana more, that's 6 turns. You have now set yourself back 6 turns because you go draw, oh look, the 3rd one is a land, draw, oh look, the 3rd one is a land. Obviously it doesn't work that consistently, but just as a whole, sometimes it'll be faster, sometimes it'll be slower, so you just want to think every time something costs 1 more mana, you are 3 turns more away from casting it. That's just a baseline way to real quick do it in your head. So you would set yourself back 6 turns in a highly competitive fast format like Historic. No, you would not do that. If you get that, obviously randomly, like I said, assigned to you as a condition, you might as well just forfeit on the spot. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose the life for each creature you control. You've lost the game. Congratulations. But then you've got just, you lose 6 life one time. And like all your creatures for the rest of the game get +2 attack. So there's some conditions where you will just steamroll your opponent, and there are some conditions where this will blow up in your face faster than a defective hood-ass firework. So you might come to the same conclusion I did, which is I wouldn't use Davriel's -2 unless you are absolutely desperate, because on average, I'd say it'll do more harm than good. It could single-handedly sink your entire game and make your entire deck virtually unplayable. Or it could do the exact same thing to your opponent effectively. I mean, it's that big of a swing. And the only determining factor is luck. Not skill, not deck building, luck. Pure luck. The opponent's got you on the ropes. Oh, look, Davriel's -2. Might as well throw that to the wall and see what sticks. Oh, look, a devastating, impossible to play around state for my opponent, and an amazing, life-saving, life point generating, creature boosting, amazing super ability from the positive. Oh, I guess I'm going to win now because of pure and utter complete luck, because of a roll of the dice, for lack of a better term. First of all, I don't want to get out a damn spreadsheet to figure out what a fucking card does. And I mean, if they're going to stay with the pattern, this isn't a real card. It doesn't exist in paper, so why would this possibly be on the Gatherer? So where are you even going to look this up? IGN's announcement website? IGN won't be in business in 5 years. I'm sure if you hovered over this, you'll get this veritable wall of text that you'll sit there and read and carefully consider and weigh the options on while your opponent is spamming your go and telling you to hurry the hell up. What about this seemed like a good idea, Wizards? I'm curious. You said you're moving away from random dumb luck and towards player skill and decision making, and then you do this, and the number one complaint about Arena or any digital play is the opponent taking too long, so you present them with a short book that they have to read to figure out what their -2 does, which may or may not show up on mousing over the permanent or just the -2. Or maybe they have to open a web browser in the middle of an Arena game and look it up. What even is this? Why did they do this? This is so stupid. I get it. It seems like random dumb luck fun. Okay. But people take Historic pretty seriously, and it's highly competitive, like I said. So it's not like Omniscience Draft or something where you're just like, oh, this is completely insane. It's chaotic and random. I mean, this honestly seems like Plane Chase, which is my favorite format, because it's just dumb, random, crazy, chaotic fun, and it's not about who wins. It's about having fun playing the game. Well, I wouldn't say competitive, constructed, ranked, standard, or historic would be described that way, especially playing against anonymous people on the internet that I don't know or care about. Fun is not the point. Arena isn't supposed to be fun. It's going to be how well can I do at Magic. That's pretty much what it is. And the fun events are very clearly fun. Well, this isn't a fun card. This isn't, in fact, an uncard. That's another one where you don't take the game very seriously, and you end up high-fiving people to gain life or whatever the hell. I mean, you do crazy stuff. You have to play with your face on the table, and if you lift it, you lose the creature or something. It's like a dumb random party game that everybody laughs at. So yeah, it sounds fun, and it's interesting, and you might have this giant swing that turns the game around, and that's half the chaos and fun, but not everybody's into that, and Arena doesn't see like the platform for it. I mean, that's the quickest way I can describe what's wrong with this card and having it just be luck and random and chaos, which is just nothing in the game should be described that way. They said they're moving away from that, and then we get this. Thank God it isn't in paper, but obviously with this big-ass list, it can't be in paper, which already a lot of people took issue with. I guess I'm not the only one who doesn't like this, it's digital only, so we're gonna do it this way thing. It's like, just because it's digital only doesn't mean you should do it. It doesn't mean it's a good idea. Just saying, oh, I'm about to lose the game. I don't know, -2. Let's leave it up to fate and see what happens. Oh, look, I pulled this out of my ass. You could say the same thing for like top decking a board wipe. But like I said, they're putting in modal spells. They want the game to go on longer to diffuse who went first and make it less important. They don't want turn 4 wins. They don't want random stuff. They don't want figurative rolls of the dice, and in the last set they added literal rolls of the dice, and they said they don't want random chance. They don't want, a card that just screws over like a red player, and then against a blue player it does nothing, and then against a red player it just devastates their board state. Well, what did they just put in the D&D set? A bunch of color-based crap. They're moving in the exact direction they said they're not going to, and I know I say this like every third video, but I wanted to really outline the point with what's wrong with this card and why it's bad for the game. They were 100% correct when they said they want to move away from luck and towards skill, because luck means you can't just go and outplay people at like a Grand Prix and win a bunch of money, and they want this to be an esport. They want it to be watchable, not, oh look, that person lucked out, lucky them. Nothing to do with player skill, no merit, they didn't earn it, just, oh look, it landed on that, lucky them. I mean, then you've got Monopoly, The most competitive part of Monopoly is trying to convince somebody to make a bad trade. Otherwise, it's all luck. There's some strategic math and reserving and all that. There's a little bit of skill, but it's like 95% luck, which is why I don't play competitive Monopoly. I'm not going to like fly out to a tournament somewhere and compete in something for money and at a highly competitive level. Now, I'll play Monopoly for fun because, hey, random chance, fun, whatever, RNG, yay, hooray for gaming. But as soon as it gets like competitive and serious, I'm going to want to earn it. I want to go to like a first-person shooter where it's 99% my skill and maybe 1% luck because, oh look, this weapon spawned right in front of me or something, or by random chance an opponent took a left instead of a right and came right into me, or they didn't look at me and I shot them blind. The rest of the time it's, can I move the mouse cursor to their head and pull the trigger in time? It's all coordination and skill. And then you get the same people, the top elite people keep winning the same tournaments because they're the best players. That's how it should be. That's how Magic should be. So we want to move away from Monopoly and towards FPSs. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the last example of why this card is toxic ass cancer, and I'm not the only one who hates this Gomez Adams looking piece of shit. Oh, and by the way, the -3 is target creature perpetually gets -3, -3. Okay, I mean, that is kind of funny because you can do it without an aura and they can't get rid of it, but who the hell even blows up an aura? I mean, you give them like stab wound or something, they're just going to try and get the creature killed or something. There's almost no difference, but this guy's pretty self-defensive, I gotta say. I mean, he can protect himself, but he doesn't, like, do anything, and that -3 isn't very good. So overall, it's not a very good card, but also it could be game-ending, but, like, on accident, through no skill of your own. Oh, this is just how not to design a card in 2021, the beginner's course. Maybe even intermediate, because this is almost advanced levels of stupidity, come to think of it. So moving on, we've got Manor Guardian. It's a 3-cost 4/3, and when it dies, each player seeks a non-land card with mana value 2 or less. So really no point to that. Next up, Subversive Acolyte. It's a 2-cost 2/2, and you're gonna need a rare wild card to put this in your historic deck. So, Mr. Subversive, here is a 2/2 for 2, and if you pay 2, you pay 2 life as well. Choose one, activate only once. Subversive Acolyte becomes a human cleric. It gets +1/+2 and gains lifelink. That's actually pretty powerful. And then Subversive Acolyte becomes a Phyrexian. Okay. It gets +3/+3 and gains trample, and whenever this creature is dealt damage, sacrifice that many permanents. In other words, Phyrexian Obliterator. So you can turn him into a ridiculously overpowered on turn 3 life gain generator or a Phyrexian Obliterator, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think is actually already in Historic, so what the hell, why not? They already broke the format. I think they've exceeded Modern and gone straight to Legacy at this point from the power level, but sure, why not? And I bet you this is in the Davriel pack. So if you're not familiar with Phyrexian Obliterator, it's one of the most powerful creatures in the entire history of the game, and once it comes out, it is almost impossible to deal with. You have to blow it up immediately, or you are going to lose the game And that is that. You cannot defeat it in combat. Cannot be done. Not within reason. You're about to say, but what about a 1/6 Death Toucher? Shut up. So this actually might be worse than Davriel because you pay 2 freaking life and 2 mana to turn him into a 5/5 trampling Phyrexian Death Walker from hell. My god, is that ridiculous. Next up, play Grafter's Familiar 2/2, or 2, whatever, 1/1. I don't even give a shit about the set anymore. It's a fucking rat, it has Death Touch, and when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature card in your hand, it gains Death Touch perpetually. Wow, who cares? And I think that's it, but Windows 10 just changed the order of the cards in the middle of me recording this. If I missed one, who gives a shit? This is a dead product. Now I know why people said, oh my god, Des, go make the rest of the spoilers. This gonna be good, let me get the popcorn. Followed by, holy shit, I am not playing this stupid Jumpstart bullshit. And then commonly also followed by, holy shit, I am not playing Historic ever again. Even people who are into Historic took a look at Dav and they're just like, forget it. Subversive, forget it. Let me just remind you, in the new Historic format, you can make Dav your commander, which means you always have access to him. Oopsies. Wizards did an oopsie, so I can't wait for him to get banned from every format, and I guess since he's digital, they could ban him and then just kind of delete him from history and pretend he doesn't exist. But not until Jumpstart already comes out, or stops coming out, like stops being a format on Arena, because once again, it's not coming out, it's not a real set, and these aren't real cards. Confused yet? So anyway, yeah, this is just shit. I mean, no wonder why they waited a while to reveal that, although according to the website I'm on, it was one of the first cards revealed and somehow I just didn't see it. Whatever, I'm glad I didn't see this first. So, yeah, this whole set is just a dumpster fire. This isn't worth 2,000 coins or however many gems. This isn't even worth your time. They could literally pay you 2,000 coins to play this shit. No, not worth it. I'm already seeing 2 or 3 packs that would just crush just from the new cards. And there's 41 different packs, so your odds of pulling a broken one are pretty low. But if you get a couple wins in the event, they're gonna eventually put you up against someone who pulled the God tier pack. So in other words, the Davriel pack. And then you're gonna lose because that would be like you're taking a pauper deck and going up against somebody running a legacy deck. I would dare say that this is generally less balanced per pack than the actual Jumpstart product was, and that was a nightmare when it came out. So yeah, don't go near this, don't play it, and abandon Historic. I mean, we gotta teach Wizards a lesson about this. So what else is there to say? Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next video.